And now for something completely different.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Strap yourself in.
Because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
This podcast is proud to be part of the Talk Sport Fan Network. Talk Sport. Powered by fans.
Right, Chris.
All right, hang on a second. I wasn't ready then. What am I doing? Here I am. Hello. I'm back from outer space. Just turn around. How are we feeling? Unbelievable. What a result last week. All I can say is it was down to one man. Wasn't Brendan Rodgers. Wasn't Tete. No. It was down to our very own Steve Lynex, who predicted that Villa would beat us 2-0. He's got his charm back. His reverse psychology, it's not worked all season. Well, it has actually, because he's predicting Leicester to win and we've lost. So it has kind of worked. But he predicted a 2-0 win for Villa. What a game that was. I mean, we actually managed to beat... Do you remember when... I'm going to say a top half side, but I'm going to use BBC psychology here. Because do you remember when Liverpool were 11th in the division? And actually, on Match of the Day, BBC showed the top half as the top 11. I'm going for that one. I'm going for that look this week. So yes, we beat a top half team according to the BBC. But hey, so much going on this week. There's going to be a lot of changes coming up on the channel, a lot of schedule reruns. But let me just go through a few things with you that you can see, watch, do, etc. Check it out today. BBC Sports Tuesday Talking Point. I really must get a new set of teeth, you know. Get my thoughts on Leicester City this week. I look particularly at the Villa game, not as a report. The shock at that starting 11 that was actually attacking. The fact that out of 9 shots, we had actually 4 on target, which went in the back of the net. We had a good transfer window. And yes, it was like watching Brazil. Go over to the BBC website, BBC Sport, go onto the Leicester City page, and you can read my full Tuesday talking point. And if you missed it last night, it is available on Leicester Till I Die TV on YouTube. I had a chat with, remember, those of you of a certain age, Pontus Kamark. And yes, he is still there. He's causing him problems. He's been walking around lopsided because of Juninho in his back pocket. Good, lovely man. Obviously not as nice as Steve Lynex, but we have to say that contractually. But a lovely man. And you can get the full interview still on Leicester Till I Die TV. He did say it was also affecting his wife because his wife was having to sort of try and support him and she was starting to lean to one side as well. I said, what's your wife called? He went, Eileen. Oh, yes. Thank you. Number one. Number one. Brad likes that one, I can see. And even Steve is rolling his eyes. Come on, that's the standard. I like to set the standard low, and I very, very often fail to come up to it. Tomorrow at 9, we've got another one in the Conversation series with Russell Osman. For those of you that are around in the 80s, that include me, 85 to 88, he played 120 games for us, scoring 8 goals. Not bad as a centre-back. And we will be talking to him about his career. He was at Ipswich with the late great Bobby Robson before he came to us. And we are doing that tomorrow night at 9 o'clock. And then this is the last prediction show. I'm going big Well, it is on a Tuesday because next week we are moving. We are going to Fridays at 9 o'clock, which will make it a bit more in tune with the week, shall we say? Because it will be obviously the day before the weekend game. So as of next week, Fridays at 9 o'clock, the new home for the Leicester Till I Die prediction show. Now let's get them in because this was last week's results. Gentlemen, good evening, Brad. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening.
Now, Steve, what happened?
Not happy with that, mate. I'm sure you're not writing them down properly.
Look, I can't not write them down. It's all on film. It can all be checked.
Well, hopefully now you've got a new mic, you'll be able to understand what I'm saying.
It is that West Midlands accent I do struggle with, Steve. I'm not going to lie.
I'll struggle with it as well, mate.
Yeah. I'm going to say I'm so glad Pontus could speak really good English because I can't. But it wasn't the best of weeks for you. But let me just say, I'm just going to see if he's actually in the chat at the moment. No, he's not, which is a surprise. But he is. He is in the chat. Anthony, you old devil, you. Let me just move ourselves around. How are you? Yes. What can I say, Anthony? Begged me, if you remember, guys, last week, begged me to record his scores down. So I did. And you know what? I just thought before I came into the show tonight, I thought, wouldn't it be a good idea just to go back and check what Anthony has scored last week? He didn't get any spot on, so there was no 3 points for him. And he didn't get any predictions right, apart from one. Steve, you actually beat Anthony, the Arsenal fan. He got 1 point.
That's me finished for the year then, mate. That'll do me.
Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah. You know what they say, Chris, don't you? What's the difference between Anthony and a fork? A fork has more points.
Yay! Do you know what Stevie said the same about you? Yeah, before we came live.
I heard him say fork, but I don't know if I heard it right.
We'll just stick with fork for now, Steve. I'll let you believe that's what I said.
As they always say, of course, it is the fork that counts. Number 2. Okay, let's just say a big few hellos before we get going. Anthony, number 2 is in. Anthony, I am well. I hope you are as well. Told you is in. Good evening. Howdy to you as well. Shane, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good day. How are you? Anthony, yeah, good game. Exactly. Who are they? And we beat a top half side. Brackets, BBC, close brackets. David's in. Good evening. How are you? Barrett is in as well. How the devil are you, sir? Love your houses, by the way. James is in. Evening, lads. Hope you are well. Let's see if we can put a smile, please, on James's face. I saw him in the Merseyside Derby chat on Doug's channel just before I came live. You were not looking happy, mate. You were not looking happy. Let's see if we can cheer you up. Let's get a few more comments in. Anthony says, yes, I'm ready for this week. hopefully a lot more ready than you were last week, mate.
You could say he's got a point to prove.
Oh, I'm sorry, that was a good one. I'm going to have to give you one of your special, really probably very unique to you. Yeah, I did like that one. Yeah, well, let me just tell you what he actually got right was he went for Brighton to beat Bournemouth 3-1, and that was the only point that he managed to get. So, bad luck, Anthony. You watch. I'll give about 5 seconds, and he'll come up with the same excuse as Steve. You're writing them down wrong, Chris. You're writing them down wrong. Let's have a look. James, hit the likes and subscribe. Yes, please do. Thank you very much. Oh, Wrexham have just equalised. Yeah, I mean, it's FA Cup replay time. It is, just to give you a quick update on them. Burnley won, Ipswich won. Apparently, there was 2 goals in about the first 5 minutes and then nothing each. Fleetwood are beating Sheffield Wednesday. Wow. Grimsby are beating Luton 3-0. I think that was 3-0 at half time. That was all over. Yeah, and like Davies just said there, Sheffield United won, Wrexham won. Wouldn't it be nice to see Wrexham go? It'd just be a great story, wouldn't it? Oh, just when you think things are going well, a Forest fan comes in. Hello, Luke.
Oh.
Well, you, sir. Welcome along. Nice to see you. Allegedly.
Just a few more months you have to put up with him. It's all right.
Yeah, exactly. Gogglebox is on at that time. How long is your program on for? I'm sorry. I think Gogglebox, you can watch it on a +1. I do like a bit of Gogglebox. I usually watch it at like 2 in the morning, though. Yeah, ready for this week. We will see. I was happy on Saturday, but I'm not. I know that was a surprise. None of us predicted that. Chris, you're writing it down wrong. Hey, there you go. There you go. Are you related, Steve, to Anthony by any chance? And Jeff is in. Good evening. You're good morning over there. It will be good morning. I've got to say, guys, I mean, the result of the weekend was Everton 1, Arsenal 0. I mean, nobody expected that.
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition.
Steve, I mean, I suppose. Look, Steve, it was at Goodison, and they are always that bit better at Goodison. Was it last season? They only won twice away from home. Once was against us, of course. But yeah, like James said, not to get carried away, but it was, it was a shock, wasn't it?
It was in one way. I did say last week, you're going to find out now if Lampard was a bad manager or it was the players that didn't want to play for him. And I think it showed now, like it does with a lot of clubs, that the players didn't want to play for him. Because you can't go through the season blaming Lampard and his well, you can, because it just shows you what happened. But the players have got to take a lot of stick, to be honest, for it. But that's football, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it was a great shock. Your shock of the week, Brad, not so much. Well, it wasn't a shock, really, because Jesse Marsh. I mean, please, whatever you do, don't take a dislike to me or Steve, because we'll both probably ended up 6 feet under.
Well,
that's 3 out of 3. You got the hat trick.
Yeah, I've completed the trifecta. It's almost as if these incapable managers that have zero experience at managing at a good level can't manage in the Premiership. Whatever next? I've already called it. Southampton managers next. I've already called my fourth. Goldberg, it's like Jesse Marsh, you're last. Well, Southampton manager, you're next. You're next for my predictions of sacking, because it's just incompetence. I mean, Steve, you said there that Frank Lampard, you'd find out which way it was. I didn't need to see Dyche in charge to know that Frank Lampard wasn't capable of doing it at this level. So I'll keep my run going. Just don't piss me off or because I'll get you sacked. Apparently, if I mention it enough, it happens.
But the thing is, I think we all know, and love him or hate him as a manager, he was the wrong person for a club in that much turmoil.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have a go at him for taking the job. You'd be mad not to. It'd be like me being offered a job in the bloody League One, let alone in the Premiership right now with no experience. You're going to take it because you feel that's a chance to really prove yourself. But it's just proven that this fashionable trend of this sort of decade or whatever's in the water between football clubs with Ollie and Potter and all these others, that you just maybe don't need to take a shine to the next fad and trend and just actually hire somebody who's done it for years.
Yeah.
We'll see. In 10 years' time, he might become that manager, but you just knew this was destined to fail. And thankfully, Everton have pulled the trigger, and so have Leeds and Villa, respectively.
I've got to say, I've never been to Bristol, but is it in a time loop or what, Bristol? Because we've just been talking about that. And actually, there's Leeds set their manager yesterday too. No shit.
Yeah.
We have just mentioned that. But for my shock of the week, and you could say, and sorry, Doug, it has already been mentioned in the chat, Liverpool losing 3-0, but was it really a shock? Man City losing to Tottenham was probably slightly more of a shock, but then again, Man City aren't having a good week. But I am going to go down for my shock of the week was Leicester Villa, because Inacho scored a goal against Walsall. Normally then he gets dropped. So that was the first thing that Rodgers did that was out of character. Secondly, he played all the new starters from the start, or the new signings from the start. I'm like, wow. Secondly, he had a very attacking team that was, again, out of character. And we didn't play out from the back as much. And look what happened when Villa did. I mean, it was just the best performance from Leicester, not just result, but the best performance of the season so far. The only problem is obviously next up is we've got the team that put 6 past us earlier in the season. So, yeah. I mean, this was it, though. I mean, James says there, a thriller at Villa, massive 3 points for you guys. It was. But again, we saw, Steve, that we went behind twice. And we've seen teams, you can't blame... I'm not going to blame Harry Souttar for the own goal. But how often have we not taken advantage this season of other teams' mistake? And yet, we saw they've come very Leicester-esque in trying to play out from the back, and it cost them.
I can't see, and you see every week now, why clubs put themselves under so much pressure from playing from the back. I don't think you get an advantage by, playing from the back, and I think you put yourself under more pressure than you need to. But a great result for Leicester. Absolutely loved it, but he had to play the 3 because he's been moaning, for the last few months that the quality wasn't good enough and the thing was not good enough and the board wasn't backing him. But they backed him. He got his player, so he had to play him. And luckily, because I don't want to get carried away too much, it's just one game, to be honest. Yeah. I think if we go on a run now as 3 or 4, then you can say great, but I think it might be a bit foolish and a bit scared to say we've turned the corner on just one result. But it was fresh to see. And, Leicester done the same, I think, last season or the season before when they weren't doing well, and then Man United came to Leicester and they absolutely hammered them. I think it was a cup game, was it? Well, I'm not too sure, but if they're playing the same again in 3 or 4 games down the line and they're doing really well, then you have to hold your hands up and say great. But I don't really want to at the moment say that we've turned the corner. But it was refreshing. It was refreshing to see everybody,
But yeah, I agree. But Brad, I mean, we look at that, and we've got Man City coming up. We've got Spurs coming up. That was a game that we needed to win, especially the way the results were going, elsewhere in the league, with wins for teams below us. We did what we had to do for once.
Yeah, for a change, considering our home form for what feels like the past year and a half has been atrocious away from home. This was the opportunity because Spurs at home suddenly looks a bit more like a game we can get something out of. It's going to be difficult, and it's not going to change. And we're probably still expecting to probably lose the game, but you feel a lot better than what you do if you get beat by Villa after all these so-called improvements. Like Steve said, he got the signings, he strengthened the areas, he brought in the competition, all the things that he said he wanted, he got. He wanted them in the summer, but he got them. He got them for a late Christmas present. So he needed, yeah, exactly, and he needed then to go for. Leicester fans were kind of looking at Brendan, going, okay, for a gritted teeth, we stuck with you and kind of gone. We're backing you because you're not getting sacked. Prove that was the point, and we've got the win. It will count for naught if we then go and get beat badly by Tottenham and Manchester United. But right now, I'd still take a draw because Man United are in good form, and I think anything that'll be a bonus game. If we can end the Villa result with a draw and go 4 points out of 6, I think that's a successful return, especially when you say teams like Nottingham Forest. Sorry, I had something in my throat then. And other certain teams are starting to pick up results. We need to make sure we're picking up points as and when it seems plausible.
Yeah. Anthony is already getting the excuses in for going to have another bad week this week. Carrying an injury today, lifting up steel and felt something pop in my shoulder, overworked and underpaid in the building trade.
Tell me all about it, mate. Tell me all about it.
Yes. But have you had your phone run over yet, Anthony? That is the question. And I was about to say Doug's adding some comedic value to the show, but then I realised he really wasn't. What do Tick and the Eiffel Tower have in common? They are both Paris sites. Oh dear. As Doug would say, oh dear. It's not even worth shooting you for that one, but let's very, very quickly as well. What wasn't a big surprise during the week was Manchester City getting done for FFP. Who knew? I'm not going to get into that tonight because we're going to be talking about that on Friday in question time. I have a feeling it might take over the show, but just to say, I'm absolutely and utterly. And I've got to be careful what I say here because Facebook aren't liking my language on these shows. I'm annoyed, shall we say, because Leicester did their best not to go mad and overspend so that we didn't get into trouble, and it cost us a really bad start to the season. And yet Man City think they can just go and do what they want. Let's hope. I wouldn't mind if they got relegated, to be honest with you. I don't think you can take the titles off them because that's one, and that'd just be a bit silly. But let's see them relegated. Let's see Man City dropped in the second. Let's see where Pep is then, shall we? Let's see where she is.
They won't get relegated, mate.
No, they won't. I know, but I'd love to see.
It'll just be a fine.
Yes.
It'll be a fine, and at worst, they'll get the Chelsea syndrome thrown at them. It'll be like, oh well, we're going to wait, and then we're going to wait, and then they'll mysteriously try and make a signing for Christian Pulisic, like what Chelsea did, and then magically they won't be able to do any transfers for a year, but really it'll only be 10 months, and then everybody forget about it. We all know.
We'll discuss it on Friday, 9:00. On question time. Now, Steve, I didn't want you to think that you were, I didn't want to really sort of make you feel that bad that, you're in third place out of 3. You know what's coming, don't you? In this prediction league. So I thought, let's have a look at the Foxes. We don't have a look at this enough. The ex-Foxes and Leicester Till I Die prediction league. There's 8 of us. There's 8 of us in that one. Surely, Steve, surely you're going to be doing better. Uh-oh.
I say it as I see it, and then that's got me into so much trouble all my life, but I'm not going to change.
This is the thing, isn't it? We'll just leave. That's gone up. Let's not delve too much into that, shall we not?
What do them top 7 know about football? That's what I want to know.
Sorry, what? Sorry.
What's those top 7 above me know about football? That's what I want to know.
And you can ring Jerry Taggart up and ask him, mate, because I ain't. He beat Dennis Wise up, I wouldn't stand a chance. But so as it stands at the moment, Arsenal are top. They might just win it by default because Man City is so awful. Got to say, well done, Man United, in the middle of a rebuild, and they are third. Newcastle fourth. Tottenham, they're hanging about. They're like a sort of a fart in a lift, whatever level they're on, it's bad. But, they are just number 3. You missed that one. But they're just either one thing or the other at the moment. And Liverpool just stopping in the official top 10. I can see them not getting Europe at all, to be honest with you. In the bottom half, it's still tight in the bottom. And I'm not going anywhere with that line. But Southampton look doomed, to be honest with you. They're doomed, I tell you. We're all doomed. Again, for those of us of a certain age. Bournemouth, I've seen a lot of Bournemouth fans calling for Gary Neal to be sacked. So that'll be interesting. Everton, just about hanging on. Be interesting again to see what Dyche can do. I think he'll save them at the expense of Leeds. And I think those bottom 3 are the 3 to go down. Only because I said that at the start of the season, and you know me, I don't get smug if I'm right over anything. Leicester there, Leicester there in 21st, but still, 3 points. But the thing that's working in our favour is the fact that we have got the better goal difference of all the teams in that bottom half. And just out of interest for this one, I know it's very small, but watch it back on the full screen if you want, guys. And that is the form for the whole season. So you can see Arsenal there. They've only got a couple of reds. And then you look down at Southampton, and they've only got 3 greens. So that's why they are there. But I just thought that looked rather nice, I thought. So I'd pull that up. But, guys, it is a prediction show. Let's get going. We've got 12 games to get through tonight. And it's a double header as Man United take on Leeds on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Yes, Anthony, I will write yours down. Will Newcastle's draw stop them from getting top 4? Depends where they buy them from, I guess. Personally, I'm a Primark man. That's where I get all my draws from. Never mind. Beautiful. Can we end the season now, please? Says Luke. Sounds a bit like Donald Trump, doesn't he? There. End it now. But let's have a look. Go on then, guys. Steve, playing each other twice on Wednesday and then again on Sunday, I believe it is. And Man United, as I say, I've been impressed with Man United this season. I didn't expect them to do this well because of the fact that the rebuild might be a case that everybody else around them is sort of throwing points away, but you can only do what you can do, as we did when we won it. Leeds, we've suffered what we will now call the Brad curse. They are managerless. Whether they will still be managerless going into this game or not, I don't know. But how do you see this one going?
I think on this one, because they've got rid of the manager, I'm not going to say it's going to make a big difference because I can't see Leeds changing the way they've been playing lately. I think they're still going to go at teams. Might be a bit more in a control manner, but I don't know what a control manner is, to be honest. And I like watching Leeds because it's unpredictable. You're entertained because you don't know if they're going to get hammered or they're going to win. Man United have been brilliant over the last few weeks. He seems to be getting it right. I still think the defence is a bit of a weakness. And I think the only way you're going to beat Man United is to attack Man United. I think if you go into the realms of parking the balls or trying to do possession football, you're going to get hurt along the way. So it all depends on Leeds, this one. Because Man United have got the rhythm, they're going. But I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw on this one. I think Leeds are going to stop them in the tracks, I think.
Now, the other way you said you think I'm writing these results down wrong.
No.
1-1 you've gone for.
I've got a feeling on this one.
Oh, Brad, let's talk about Bielsa going back.
Oh God, Leeds you took one step backwards by hiring somebody worse than Bielsa somehow. You don't go back to the toxic ex-girlfriend that wouldn't bother to learn your family values and do anything your way and just wanted it all. No, don't do that, Leeds. Jesus Christ. You might as well ask Burnley if they want to swap with you now for the Premiership if you do that. Oh, I was going to start this off by saying good news, Leeds fans, you've got rid of the incompetent Jesse March. Bad news is it sounds like you're going back to your toxic ex. I hope you don't, personally, for Leeds fans if they're in here watching and whatnot, or neutral fans watching back that like Leeds. But unlike Steve, I'm not going to talk about how I don't think this will affect them, and then suddenly I'm going to predict the result. I think you normally see some form of natural bounce from a team, whether it's freedom or they just want to play a certain style that they feel was missing from the manager's instructions and go about their own business. They'll have a bit of freedom because they won't have anyone in charge for the Wednesday fixture against them. Just not enough time. Might be someone sat in the stands if they're doing it really quickly, but it won't be anything too dramatic. I think they'll huff and a puff, but there ain't no Sean Dyche at Everton moment here for them. They're going to lose 2-0.
2-0 to Man United. Bamford has come out apparently and has been criticising Jesse Marsh's tactics. Whether that's a nice thing to do or not, I don't know. But there's obviously maybe more going wrong at that club than we think. You see, normally you'd say, well, look, they've sacked the manager. Yes, they get that bit of a bounce. Bournemouth did just by using a standing manager. Burnley did when they sacked Dyche. But you'd always say like, wow, they're playing Man United, playing a top four side. And then you look at Everton taking on Arsenal, and that kind of blows it out the window. But I've got to agree with you. I don't know where you come with that one, Steve. And you're going to remind me of this if it is a draw. But I am going 3-1 to Manchester United. I can't see Leeds. I think it's just the start of the decline. They only just stayed up last season, which is why I picked them to go down this season. They flatter to deceive. And I think it's at Old Trafford as well. They've won 6 home games in a trot, have Man United. So I think they'll keep it going with a 3-1. Let's go back and have a look at what people are saying. Carlos Carabon has turned them down and signed a new deal at West Brom. Was he in for the Leeds job then, Doug? I see he's just signed a new contract, but here we go. Anyway, so James has gone 4-0 to Manchester United. Told You has agreed with me and has gone 3-1 to Manchester United. Shane has gone 3-0. Anthony he's agreed with me as well, 3-1. My God, is it too late for me to change my mind?
No, Anthony's only doing that so he knows at least then if you get 2 points, he's guaranteed 2 points. He's a desperate man. It's a desperate man, Anthony.
In fairness, I think he'd written his down first, but I just feel like I need to change it. I need to be cleansed. I think that's the thing. David has gone 2-0 to Man United. Mike has gone 4-1 to Man United, and they're all talking about Casemiro's red card. Let's have a look. Have we got any more scores in here? True Red has gone 3-0 to Manchester United. And Doug, wow. Doug has gone 5-1 Manchester United to beat Leeds. You think it's going to be a rout there? Well, we will see. We will see. That is on Wednesday at 8 o'clock. It is not on any official sites channels at all. But I'm sure if you search, you might be able to find one. But it is not on the TV. What is on the TV is West Ham against Chelsea. It's the early kickoff on Saturday, 12:30. It's on BT Sport, like I say. West Ham, what a result for them last week, Steve. I mean, they needed that. It was El Sacchio, wasn't it? Have I got West Ham up there yet? No, I haven't, have I? There we go. Getting a point at last week wasn't. Sorry, last week they did well because they got that point at Newcastle. Well deserved, I thought. They really went for it. I was surprised at that. They'd beaten Everton the week before, which probably wasn't the biggest surprise. But they'd lost to Wolves and could only draw with Leeds. And Chelsea couldn't get past Fulham after they spent all that money. Couldn't get past Liverpool. They only beat Palace 1-0. And they lost to Fulham in the first game 2-1. How do you see this one?
I can't see Chelsea scoring. I think I said last week, and I think everybody else is saying the same thing. You're buying quality players, but they're not team players. They're not changing anything the way Chelsea play. And a lot of possession football. But I think they're losing the killer touch, and I can't see the guy up front, Havertz, scoring more than 2 goals in a game or in a month, to be honest, the way he's playing at the moment. So, West Ham, I think they're going to win this 1-0 West Ham.
1-0 to West Ham. Doug, I don't know if you're still in, if you can get rid of that Twitch bot at all. I can't. I appear not to be able to. But please do not follow any of these links that you see on Twitch. They're just guys coming in trying to sort of scam you and get money off you. So please do ignore that. It won't allow me to get rid of it. So I don't know if anybody else can. Brad, is this the start of a West Ham turnaround?
Don't think so. I think in a weird way, and we've said it a few times, really, and tongue-in-cheek with joking with a few West Ham fans, but they kind of mimic how we're doing. But I just don't sense it with West Ham. I think, I think almost David Moyes has put the West Ham mentality to survival mode. I mean, great point against Newcastle, but we've said that about Newcastle. They weren't going to suddenly go in leaps and bounds and suddenly win a league and all this jazz because they're multi-billionaires. They're going to take a season or two before they seriously start to compete. So Newcastle are always going to drop points at random points in the season. Having said that, this is probably the perfect game because another manager who I've not spoke, to be nice, I've not spoke so highly of him as a Chelsea manager as I did as a Brighton manager in Graham, I'm Not a Wizard Potter. I'm not going to put the mockers on him just yet because I've got me 3 seconds. That's kept my appetite going for now.
With that, are you?
For now, my appetite, me thirst has been quenched on the sackings and that and all that.
You're mean for you, are you? Bloody hell!
I know, but in all fairness, I feel he's been a bit stitched up by the ownership. Potter has. I think he's been stitched up because he's not paid for any of these players. I don't think he's scouted or recommended any of these signings, but that's a whole different topic for a different show. I think it might show on this one though, and I'm gonna say that West Ham always concede a goal, which is the only reason I'm not going to go for 0-0. I'm going to go 1-1. There's something wrong with how Chelsea are trying to go about things. So yeah.
There is totally. How the hell are they getting away with this? FFP, but we know by giving players 25-year contracts. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what's going on. I mean, everything's going wrong at West Ham at the moment. I did say to them, they're almost like they're having a Leicester every season, but a season behind us. So I don't know. I don't think they're going to go down, but I think they are going to struggle this season, like we did last season. Chelsea, I can't see Potter being there at the start of next season. He might stay till next season. If he doesn't get them Europe, and I know it's not Abramovich anymore, but I can't see Bowie. It appears that the owner doesn't even trust him to buy his own players. So, and you're giving some of these players 7-8 year contracts. Well, when the new manager comes in, what if he says, "Well, that player that you paid 140 million pounds for doesn't fit into my style of play," and then you got like, where the hell is he going? How are we going to get him off the wage bill? It's absolutely. I mean, Chelsea are just in self-destruct mode. Typical Americans, they got to do something bigger than you and all that shit. That said, they should beat West Ham. I'm going to make it a full house because I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go 1-0 to Chelsea because I think somehow they'll just manage to sneak this, which they always just seem to do on that one. Let's have a look. Chelsea to win 2-1, says Jeff. James has gone 1-0 to West Ham. Ooh. Doug has gone 2-1 to West Ham. Told you, bro, has agreed with you. Brad has gone 1-1. Mike's gone 2-1 to Chelsea. Finally, somebody's agreeing with me. David's definitely agreeing with me. 1-0 to Chelsea. West Ham 1, Chelsea 1, says Shane. West Ham 2-0, says True Red. Doug, I didn't realise I don't even know how to make somebody a mod on Twitch, so I'll have a look afterwards, but do appreciate your comment. Thank you, mate. If you don't mind being a mod, I'll add you on there as well. Shane has, it's 2-1 to Sheffield United now. Shane's gone 2-1 to Sheffield United.
3-1 now.
3-1.
Dreams over.
They scored 2 goals in after time.
Yeah. It's a shame. Anthony's gone 1-0. Oh, God, he's agreed with me again. God's sake, Anthony. I'm going to ban you.
Put him on a timeout. Put him on a timeout. He needs to stop the copying homework.
Yes, he does. Indeed. Talk is Luca Enrique has been approached by Bohey. Really? Wow. Shane was just saying was 3-1, and Doug, thank you very much for that. So I'm gonna check Anthony's score next, and I'm gonna go for something completely different. Arsenal Brentford. I mean, Steve, it was a shock loss for them last week. I don't think anybody was expecting it. None of us three certainly were. But I put that down to it was away. It was Everton. They've got the new manager effect. Blah blah blah. I can see Brentford. I think they're having a good season. Normally, I want to go first on this one. You've disagreed with me, Anthony. Thank God for that. It was close, though. But I'm going to go first and think that Brentford will put up a good fight. But I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal on this one. Anthony has gone 2-0 to Arsenal. So thankfully we don't agree. Steve, Arsenal to get things back on track?
No, I've had my nice few weeks being nice for them now, but the way things are going now, I'm going back to my old self, and I'm going to say, right, Brentford, the way you're playing, you're going to ruin the party, and I think you're going to win 1-0. 1-0
to Brentford. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh. I am. Do you want to just check? I'll show you my homework at the end so you can check I'm writing down your predictions. Could be a tight one, though, this, Brad. I mean, none of us have gone for sort of a huge win for either side.
Yeah, I mean, along with a couple of other teams, probably Brighton and Fulham, we all keep expecting Brentford to sort of have fallen away to this point. Not dramatically fallen away, but, you know, they'd stop getting these results against the Liverpools, Chelseas, etc., and they'd be back down in 10th and 11th, and they'd be very safe, steady eddies, but they're not. They keep finding ways to win. They keep doing well, and this is going to be, you know, Everton was a shock, and you can say that was a one-off, a freak result for Arsenal the way they've been this season, and write it off. But you'll be wanting to make sure they get the win here, and I'm a little bit torn on this because the status quo says Arsenal win. And I think if this was at Brentford, I'd be going for something a little bit more dramatic. This is very. So I even got to pick last. I'm still stuck on this result. This is like tuning next week to find out which one Brad goes for. I'm gonna go 2-1 Arsenal, but I can really see Brentford nicking a point here. But I'm gonna stick with my original idea, and my original thought, and I am gonna edge it to Arsenal 2-1.
So you agreeing with me? Oof.
Yeah, because I can't agree with Anthony. That's just 1 point a week, isn't it?
I know. Nobody wants to agree with Anthony. Not even Steve wants to agree. I'm not going to match up with that loser. 1 point. 1 point, Ant. That was what you're going to call him, Brad, wasn't it? 1 point, Ant.
Yes, 1 point, Ant. That's what our finger selfie is all about, wasn't it, Chris?
Do you, by any chance, when you say the finger selfie, do you mean that?
Oh yeah, that one.
Finger.
Well, it bloody better be, otherwise that might be the reason you keep getting banned on Facebook.
That is very true, sir. That is very true. Remember that? A finger of food, you just enough to give your wife a treat. Well, it wasn't wife, but you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going down valleys here that I don't want to go into. So Anthony's gone 2-0 to the arse. Mike has gone Gunners to win 4-2. James has gone 2-1 to Brentford. Jeff has gone 2-0 to Arsenal. Shane 2-1 Brentford. Told you has gone 3-0 Brentford. Doug has gone 2-0. Steve, how could you? Says Anthony. True's Red. Luke has gone 2-1 to Arsenal. Burnley apparently have just taken the lead. As a Palace, I don't know. You're ahead of me, I think, aren't you? There with that one. Chris had his tongue out. Don't go there. Okay, so that is Arsenal Brentford. Now, talk about derbies. To say that they're not actually on each other's doorsteps, this one carries quite a bit of an edge to it. Crystal Palace hosting Brighton and Hove Albion. Let's have a look how these teams are doing. Crystal Palace lost, unlucky to lose, I think, fairness to Manchester United 2-1, but they drew with Newcastle, which, I think when you look at Newcastle this season, you've got to see that as a good point. But before that, the first game against Man United, they drew 1-1. They only lost 1-0 to Chelsea, but Tottenham did beat them 4-0. Brighton beat Bournemouth. Of course, could only, and I say only beat Leicester, and I don't mean that patronisingly, but when you come to think how they stuffed us in the first game, that was actually quite a good result for us. They stuffed Liverpool, Doug, 3-0. They stuffed Everton 4-1, but former Q here, guys. But they did lose to Arsenal 4-2. Again, I always think with derbies, they're difficult ones to call, Steve.
I don't know, to be honest, nowadays, because I don't think a derby's a derby with no contact in the game. But
you actually see a couple of broken legs, do you? And limbs flying about, limbs all over the place.
You can't beat it. You can't beat it. Because I've been watching the games again over the weekend, and it's embarrassing when they show it in slow motion when they go down, and you think, "Oh my God, what's the matter with you?" But I can't see anybody kicking
it. Steve, I noticed the other day, there's so many players that somehow, and it started in the World Cup, but there seems to be a lot of players standing on other players' feet. And not only that, the shin pads seem to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Maybe if they had bigger shin pads, they wouldn't get hurt so much.
I don't think they need shin pads anymore. I think they need just divers boots. You know what I mean? But
flippers.
Even the fans know when you say it's a local derby, I don't think you look to the games now as you did a few years gone by, like as a derby because they're not the same. But going on this game, I think just looking at the recent results, I think Palace are due a win, and I think I think they're going to win this one 2-0.
2-0. Oh, controversial. 2-0. Guys, I'm writing that down. 2-0 to
Yeah.
Palace.
I'm on a roll. I'm on a roll this week. I'm going to smash it.
Says that every week. Brad.
See, I know people will say, "Oh, Palace are unlucky." And you would think that saying 2-1 scoreline, you could argue the red card helped them get back into the game. But let's face it, if you ever see the words Jeffrey and Schlupp as the goal scorer, you know he either scuffed it or he didn't mean it. So,
Yeah.
and guess what? He really didn't mean it. The ball just sort of hit him and it went in. But they could have got something to change the complexity. I've said this about Vieira. I think he's probably he is the literal only definition of a manager that's landed on his feet in the Premiership from being a player making that transition, because Palace are just a little bit more exciting to watch, but still predictable where they're going to end up, and that's between 10th and 13th, let's face it. Brighton just never seem to be able to drop points, do they? They play Liverpool, well, they beat them. They can't score against whoever it was they played last week. Was it Bournemouth?
Oh, Bournemouth, no. Sorry. Yeah, I'm getting the two. Yeah, Bournemouth.
Yeah. And then they found a way to break the deadlock there. That Minamoto or whatever. I'm trying to not butcher names there, but yeah, he looks phenomenal. He's always finding a way to score. And, considering they kind of got a little bit butchered during the summer and a little bit in the winter transfer window, they still find a way to do results. And I think they're going to do it here. And I think they're going to do it style. And I think they're going to win 3-0. Brighton, that is, just to confirm. In case you couldn't talk about who I was peacocking there in their team performance, that's definitely 3-0 Brighton. I've come
I gathered. I kind of saw the way that was going.
Just sat on the fence, mate. Just wanted to clarify.
Patrick Vieira is sat there at the moment, and you go, my God, thank God for that. And the one ex-player manager in the Premier League that Brad's not destroyed this season. And the job safe for another week. Look, we all know that whoever wins the Premier League is going to win Manager of the Season. I don't think that's fair. And I don't think that yes, when Leicester did it, of course, I agree with that. Not just because it's Leicester, but because it was so unexpected. But when Man United win it, do they deserve to, does Alex Ferguson deserve to be, Manager of the Season? Should Chelsea do it? Does Potter, because of the money he spent? I think the guy at Brighton is doing an absolutely fantastic job. They're 6th in the table. Like you said, the transition from Potter to De Zebra, it's like it was just sort of merged. You wouldn't even notice the difference. And like you said, Brad, they've lost some good players, and yet they're still up there. Tottenham are actually above them, but they've played 2 games more. And if Brighton were to win those 2 games, that would put them back on level points with Newcastle. I can see Brighton, Brentford, Fulham all fighting for that place, and looking forward, no disrespect, Doug, but looking forward to, one of those teams knocking either Chelsea or Liverpool out of those European places. For me, De Zebra is doing an absolutely fantastic job, and I am going to agree with you, Brad, but not on the score. I'm going to go 2-0 to Brighton. And long may it, they beat us. You could argue that, it could have been more, but we did well against them in the return. But I like to see these clubs come and do well. And when you think Newcastle fans are sort of, oh, woe is me, and all the, bad times we've had under Ashley. Yeah, okay, you did, but you never had anything as bad as Brighton. You weren't playing football at a local athletics field, with an athletics track around the edge. I just love the Brighton story. I really, really do. I've gone 2-0. So Jeff went Palace 1, Brighton 1. Mike has gone Palace 1, Brighton 2. Big Ant has gone 3-2 to Brighton. He's expecting a goal fest. Don't know where those two. Oh no, 3. Yes, 3-2 Brighton. I don't know where those 2 Palace goals are coming from. Schlop. Told you has gone Palace 2, Brighton 3. James has gone Crystal Palace 1, Brighton 3. Shane has gone Palace 1, Brighton 3. True Red's gone 1-0 Brighton. Doug has gone 1-1. So it ends in a draw. And Flippers. Do you remember Flipper on the TV? There's like a glut of animal programs during that era. That and Skippy and anyway, I am going off skew again. Nearly said 2-2 Doug for that reason, but went for another Mitamina late goal. Let's just have a look. 2-0. Oh, you're getting ahead of me here, Jeff. Wait, you on a different? I know you're on a different time zone, but let me catch up. And can I just say, Anthony, when you put 3-2 Brighton like that, right? Don't be thinking that if Palace win 3-2 that you're going to come back to me and say, yeah, but I put the Palace score first and the 2 was applying to Brighton. That you're not getting away with, sir. You're not getting away. Not that I think you would do that at all, Anthony. Not bloody much. Oh, excuse me. Fulham Forest. Oh, where to go with this one? Third place.
Pick me.
I mean, Fulham sat in 9th, but Forest up in 13th. They beat. Let's be honest with you. Whenever you get a manager sacked, that says how the team's played. We've been there often enough when we've got managers for the team sacked. Forest, I didn't think they'd go down, but they're doing well. Like Luke said earlier, stop the season. But Fulham drew with Chelsea, only lost 1-0 to Tottenham, only lost 1-0 to Newcastle, but beat Chelsea in the previous game 2-1, and of course beat us 1-0. Forest beat Leeds, drew with Bournemouth, beat another East Midlands team 2-0, beat Southampton 1-0 and drew with Chelsea. So it's going to be, again, I think, another tight one, Steve.
Yep, small pitch. A team that's playing incredibly well. To be honest, I like watching Fulham at the moment. But Forest, I've got a sneaky feeling because
I get that whenever I think about Forest, but usually it's diarrhea.
They're getting more direct now. They're looking all right going forward, I think. So I'm going to upset you, I think. I'm going to go 1-0 Forest.
I don't believe it. I don't. I mean, I just don't know what to say to you, Steve. I try to like you. I understand the Tottenham and I understand the Spurs thing, but sometimes you leave me speechless.
Oh, behave.
It could be reverse psychology. You don't know.
But you didn't say that. That only counts when you actually say reverse psychology. So 1-0 to Forest.
Take that.
You may have lost a fan in Anthony, but you've won a fan in Luke. Brad, I know you're not going to go silly on me.
No, don't be so daft. Like I do such thing. Luke, cover your ears. Luke, just cover your ears. Mute the video because you're not going to like what I say. So here we go. Fulham have impressed me. Fulham have done really well this season. We all thought Fulham were going to do what they do every year, is not learn from the mistakes, but they're doing really, really well. And it's at home. And Forest might know how to score goals, but they ain't getting any. 5-0 Fulham.
Wow. Oh, serious?
I'm doing a Steve. I'm just going really angry towards Forest because I'm sick of seeing them get points. And I really, really want to be right at the end of the season when Forest go back down to the Championship. And if they keep picking up points, that ain't going to happen. So come on, Fulham, sort it out.
I don't believe it.
But I'd love it to be true. I love it.
I know. Well, if Man City are getting investigated for the financial fair play. Surely Nottingham Forest have to be investigated for registering 752 players this year. So it's only fair that they suffer a beating.
Oh dear! I haven't saved it, but that what I did last week, it did make me chuckle. The old queue for the Nottingham Forest Players Lounge from the old. You should see the queue for the gents. I agree. I was actually going to go 1-1 on this one, but unlike Steve, I do sort of, retain some loyalty to Leicester. Sorry, Steve. I don't want them to win. I don't want them to get a point. I'm going 3-1 Fulham. I wrote 1-1 down and realised I was being just absolutely. And thank you, Steve, because you made me see the error of my ways.
That's what Steve's here for. He doesn't really care about the predictions. He's just here he's here to help nurse our egos. That's what it is, isn't it? So he's charitable as that, Steve.
He is a football counsellor. Did you know that? Jeff,
This is the only way I'm going to get points. He's going against you two all the time. So.
Oh dear. Steve is reading it wrong again. Mike's gone Trees 1, Fulham 3. 1-0 to Fulham. Says, told you. Here they all come. Sat in 13th and above Leicester. Yes, you are. But, I mean, if we look at the old goal difference, 18 goals you've let in. Well, 18 goals more than you've scored. Oof, that's worth a point. Jeff's gone, sorry, preparing breakfast and predicting when I pass by the phone. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. Can't argue with that. I doubt that you're in the Philippines that you're going to have a full English, but Anthony's gone 2-0 to Fulham.
See, I knew he couldn't copy my homework for an extreme. That's why I did it really as well.
and Doug's agreed with him. You mad fool, Doug. He got 1 point last week. James was gone for my original thought of a 1-1 draw. Fulham, yes, they should have beaten Chelsea. You're quite right. 2-2 says Shane. Legend Steve. He just likes to buy friends, does Steve? Do you know what I mean? We don't care who we upset, Brad and me.
Well, at least until the court orders come through.
Well, this is true. This is true. But interesting now. Interesting. Luke, the big Forest fan, has only gone 1-1.
Bottled it.
Now,
Sorry, that's not that loud. Sorry, Luke.
I've got to say, can you imagine singing that song for Forest? Like there was 495 green bottles sitting on the wall. Right. I think I know which way Steve. I might be able to pull Steve back with this one. Leicester City hosting Spurs, Steve.
2-0 Leicester.
2-0 to Leicester.
Do you know what? I was waiting for Steve not to say anything. So if it finished 2-0 to Spurs, he could say, I never said which team.
Yes, I was about to ask him. But I think
I'm not going for the reverse psychology. I just want them 2-0 and kick the crap out of them all for the 90 minutes, especially Kane.
So you haven't gone for, you have gone 2-0 to Leicester, haven't you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
you have. Yeah, we're going to lose, Brad. We're going to lose.
No. You're going to hammer him and you're going to kill him.
Oh, I'd love to. 6-2 last time. I mean, what is happening with Spurs season? I mean, beat Manchester City 1-0, beat Fulham 1-0, lost to Manchester City 4-2, lost to Arsenal 2-0. Well done, Anthony. Beat Palace 4-0. And we know we've had a couple of good results finally. Although we did all right when we played Liverpool, we had to give them the goals. And apparently, I didn't realise this, but since the World Cup, Liverpool's top scorer is Wout Faes.
Yeah, that's embarrassingly funny, and I'm sure Doug is sick of hearing it and praying that his Liverpool side can score a few goals so he can stop getting told that by everybody. 'Cause it's not
Can
just
you
Leicester
imagine,
fans that.
imagine the award ceremony at the end of the year? And we'd like to welcome our top scorer all the way from Leicester.
It's centre back. Wow, face. It's not stars in your eyes tonight, Matthew. I'm going to be Liverpool's top scorer.
Can we get anything from this?
We can if we play the way we did against Villa. Look, let's get the biggest elephant out of the room, and I don't mean size. I mean because he probably dribbles as much as one. We know Harry Kane's going to score. It's customary. It's like it's ingrained in his 65-year Spurs contract that he has to score past Leicester. And I don't know, maybe we get paid off by Spurs for letting it happen because it always happens, doesn't it, Chris? He must have more. I think he actually has more goals than he has games against us. Does Kane? So if you include his goal into my calculations, Leicester win 4-2. I think they're going to go back to back with results because we know Kane's going to score, whether it's 1 or 2. But I think I genuinely can win. I genuinely think that.
I was watching social media, and obviously Kane's just won this award. He's the biggest goal scorer ever at Tottenham or something. And there's a meme going around where he's holding this shirt with 300 on, and he's kissing it, and the meme comes up at the bottom, not bad for a one-hit wonder, which I presume somebody called him once. And I just don't like him. But when he plays for England, obviously I love the guy, But yes, you've got to say, I think he's going to get 1. I think Son will score as well.
He knows those passes as well, yeah.
But I can't go against my team. I'm going to go 3-2 to Leicester. I think it'll be a humdinger of a game. If Brendan doesn't do what Brendan always does and has a tinker.
That's very true. It's very true. That's what it really depends on, doesn't it? If Brendan's going to do it or not.
I mean, he surprised us last week with the team he picked and the formation, the way he played, no defensive midfielder. He went for it. But this is Tottenham. Will he think will he show the game, go back to, I show him too much respect. I'm going to play 3 defensive midfielders. And so we are
six centre backs and 1 up front. No goalkeeper.
We're going to play an 8-1-1. Excuse me. So it is all into his hands, definitely. Right, let's have a look here. Anthony says 2-1 to Tottenham. Always knew you were a Tottenham fan, Anthony. Always knew it. You pretend to be Arsenal, and you try and throw us off the scent by saying that, you like Southampton and Bristol City. I'm going to clip that because you, young man, are a true Tottenham fan.
Yeah, Tottenham's in his blood. You can tell it. He bottles everything. I've heard he's bottling predictions on this one. I heard he's bottling predictions on Dan's show. So maybe the truth's finally coming out, Matthew Anthony. Is that what we're seeing? You're all Spursy.
What is Tottenham Hotspur's symbol?
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that because you'll clip it. You'll clip it.
No. Well, I'll say it's a cock.
Oh wow! Wow. Yeah, sum that up well there.
Yes. I'm not saying Anthony's one, but no, if the cap fits. James has gone. Love you, Ant. James has gone 2-1 to Leicester. Love you, James. Love you. You say a good old. He's one of the few scousers we like.
James is only saying that because he knows I'm actually going to be nice about Everton this week because there's no Lampard there.
Yes. Told you's gone 2-1. Shane's gone at the same, but to Fulham. Jeff mid breakfast has got Leicester to win 3-1. Doug's trying to be funny. I'm not even going to put that up, Doug. I'm going to come to your proper score later. Leicester 1, Spurs 3, says Luke. Yeah, whatever, Luke. I can see Luke. Yeah, he is going to be played in a minute. City 2-1, says Mike. If Brendan gets his leg over on Friday night, we'll be okay. Cayman cider is a very good drink. No blood, yes. Doug, for that, what should we give him? I don't think he deserves the Liam. I'm just going to give him that.
All of them options above. And they'll do for that one.
Yes. Chris, stop it. The missus is winking at me with that picture. Oh, she's been to buy you Viagra for the week, has she, mate? Right. Moving on quickly. Doug, you'll get me into trouble. Yeah. Next game, Southampton Wolves. Oh man, Southampton are going down, aren't they, Steve?
Yeah, I think they are. But I don't know. It's hard. It's a funny season. Yeah. You know, you're looking at the table now, and I think anybody from 12 down can go down at the moment. So, oh God, I predicted last week that Wolves would never score more than one goal, and they go and bloody score 3. So, Wolves are a good draw specialists. Southampton, I'm just going to do it because Southampton's having a bad time. I'm going to say Southampton's going to win 2-1.
Oof. Say that again.
2-1 to Southampton, just because they've been having a bad time.
Just so that you know, just in case you think I'm doing it the wrong way around again. 2-1.
I'm going to surprise you this week. I'm telling you, I'm going to surprise you this week.
You've been saying that for 20 weeks.
I know, yeah, but it's got to come through one weekend.
Yeah. Elimination. Or you think you do well by not coming on after his result last week. Wolves were down and out at one point, weren't they, Brad? But they've turned it round. Now, Doug did actually have a. I think he said it was going to be a higher win than is a proper 3-1 for Spurs over Leicester. So I'm not going to mention the fact that Wolves' last outing was against Liverpool and they beat them 3-0. But I'm going to. Liverpool beat them 3-0 in the last time out. How often more can I say that? Wolves won 3-1 in the last game. In fact, just to say it and look at it from a different way, Liverpool lost 3-0 to Wolves last time out. Look, Klopp's got to go, hasn't he?
Well, I mean, I know Doug will argue fiercely into it, and it's probably the only thing we can compare between Leicester and Liverpool with their managers is they're both at that bracket of year which people connect with the rich, don't they? It's a 7-year rich for Klopp. It's supposed to be the 4-year rich for Brendan with us at Leicester, and you know how both clubs end could depend on which one's actually left on the job at the end of the season. I don't think he'll get sacked. I think he'll walk next season, and I would not be surprised if he's offered the opportunity to potentially, return to Germany with somebody maybe.
You know, they might turn it around. They might get Europe, and purely for the fact that Manchester City are relegated, so it moves everybody up one. But anyway, going back to Wolves, Southampton. I mean, to me, this is, like I say, Southampton are dead and buried.
Yeah, they are. If there's any Southampton fans that are suddenly hearing the Jaws music, I've already stated it once and I'll state it again. Nathan Jones, after your press conference at the weekend, you're next. You're next on my list to just cross off in prediction how your manager's going to go, because that Nathan Jones, I am saying his name right here, aren't I? It is Nathan Jones.
I think it is.
You know, it's not Tom Jones, because he'd do a better job, wouldn't he, Tom Jones?
Well, he's used to playing on the green grass of home, isn't he?
But no, seriously, I mean, there's tongue-in-cheek calling a team a one-man team, and then there's literally realising it isn't even Southampton Wolves are playing, it's Ward-Prowse FC, because he's the only one that's got a competent bit of skill about him, it seems, at this moment. But when a manager comes out and literally admits that he's been giving in to the players' demands and not stamping his authority, they ain't gonna listen to you now, kid. They ain't gonna listen to you now. They know they've been able to mug you off for 6 weeks. Why the hell would they listen to you now? Whereas Wolves have replaced their boring structural manager in large and got this manager in who's got the motor in. And you knew the talent was there at Wolves. Unlike Southampton, the in-depth talent isn't there. And I think Wolves' resurgence continues. And if this isn't the sacking, it's the start of an onerous sign for Southampton fans, because this is going to be another beating. And I'm going to Wolves to win this game by 3-0.
3-0. I agree with you. Sorry, Southampton fans. And I can't believe I'm actually predicting both Southampton and Bournemouth to go down, because they're both my local teams. So I would get a chance to possibly watch Leicester. But yeah, you've been there or thereabouts. I'm going 2-0 to Wolves. I can't see Southampton getting much between now and the rest of the season, to be honest with you. James has gone 2-0 to Wolves, agrees with me, as indeed does Shane. Doug's gone 1-0 to Wolves. Mike's gone 3-1 to Wolves. Told you's gone 1-1. Jeff's gone 1-1. Anthony is going to wear his lucky Southampton top. He's gone 1-1.
Oh, Southampton lost there.
Yeah. And Luke's gone 2-0 as well to Wolves. But just to confirm, guys, today's FA Cup, the teams through to the next round are Burnley, who beat Leeds 2-1. No, they didn't. They beat Ipswich 2-1. So I've got Leeds on my brain now. Burnley beat Ipswich 2-1, so they are through. Fleetwood have beaten Sheffield Wednesday 1-0.
Oh, that's who they'll play then, Burnley.
Yeah. Grimsby are beaten Luton 3-0. Nothing happened much in the second half. Like I say, Sheffield United, and I don't mean bad when I say unfortunately, but Wrexham are out. Sheffield United beating them 3-1. Grimsby have actually got Southampton in the next round, so that's their FA Cup run over as well. Sorry, Southampton. Next up, Steve, Bournemouth hosting Newcastle. Again, I've got to be honest with you. I can't see them getting anything from this Bournemouth.
I think the little ground's going to not favour Newcastle. I think they prefer a bigger pitch. I think they need space, Newcastle. I don't think at the moment, when it's tight, they can break teams down. So I'm going to go for another draw, I think. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Just be my witness, Brad. Be my witness.
I am your witness, don't you worry, Chris? I've got your back.
It's my week this week. It's my week this week. You watch.
So, how much have you had to drink, Steve?
I'm going to claw back about 15 points this week.
You'll still be 20 behind.
Ooh, Bradley.
Sorry, Steve. Did I get you back for that infamous Bradley comment that you made last week? I love you, Steve. You're my favourite Fox. Did I ever tell you that? No, not buying it. I'll buy you a pint.
More than a bloody pint, I think.
Play the Neeson one. The Liam Neeson one.
Oh, yeah, I think I deserve that for that. I think I deserve I warranted that one.
I will look for you. I will find you. And I will kill you.
But then again, Steve, I've just found this for you.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Sorry, we're close to each other on my playlist. No, somehow Bournemouth are going to get a draw at Newcastle, Brad. Agreeing?
Yes.
There's always a I said that in Steve's voice. That's not. I'm getting good at this ventriloquism. I mean, there's always a possibility. Like I said, Newcastle this season. Look, you're going to have an amazing season. You're in a final, whether you win it or not. Regardless, you've made a cup final. You're having a great season. You're probably going to get Europe of some form, no doubt. But they are going to drop points. We've talked about it with a few managers already this show. I think Bournemouth missed a trick. When they were on that red-hot run under Gary O'Neill, they should have appointed him. I think the fact that the board didn't trust it to continue, and then when it did, kind of realised, oh, maybe we've missed that boat, and they started losing a few games, they panicked and offered him the contract before it got worse, and it hasn't really worked with Bournemouth. I think, all joking aside, I think Steve's got a slight chance here of actually, Bournemouth strangling the game and only conceding 2 goals. Chris, don't worry. I wasn't going all in there.
Thinking, my God, he's got to you. Wait,
I think
call the police, Brad.
Yeah, I've just got a funny feeling that if he's fit to play, Callum Wilson's going to come back and haunt Bournemouth, being a former player, and I think they'll put up a fight. But I think 2 late goals, Newcastle will win this 2-0. But Steve will be cheering for about 70 minutes, thinking he's got 3 points.
How can he get 3 points? Because he's gone for 1-1.
Well, I don't know. See, because he'll forget that he said 1-1, then he'll be telling you, saying, I said 0-0.
Yeah. Well, it's a 5:30 kickoff on Sky on the Saturday night. Yeah, I mean, I agree with one of you two. Guess which one?
Yes, well done, Chris. Well done, mate. Got
it. Some say mad, some say disillusional, Steve, but I've always said you're a nice guy. I've actually gone. I'm obviously agreeing with Brad here. I think it'll be 3-0. I really do. And the interesting thing is that you got Newcastle playing Manchester United in the Fizzy Pop Cup, and it doesn't really matter because if both of them finish in the top 4, one of them's going to get into Europe that way anyway. And I don't know what's going to happen, because if they both get into the Champions League, neither of them are going to want to drop down into the Europa League, which is what the League Cup gives you. So do they have a playoff then between Southampton and Forest? Oh, can you imagine Forest getting into the?
Oh God! No, doesn't it go down to league position? If a club wins it, they get the European qualification, but if they automatically get the grade above, it goes to league. I'm not sure with this Europa Conference if that has malfangled it, but that used to be how it happened.
Yeah. No, I think it. No, I was joking. It is.
No, but that would be funny, wouldn't it? Because they'd lose about 7-0 for us, and that's in the first half.
Yeah. You have just ruined my joke, but thank you very much.
Sorry. Sorry. I was being politically correct for a change.
Just when we thought that we'd got the 2 worst predictors in the show with Steve and Anthony, Dan pops in just to show that there were worse predictors out there at all. Well done, sir, at getting through against Ipswich. Apparently, George Hurst, is he on loan at Ipswich? I think, isn't he?
Yes.
Scored the goal. Good Leicester player. Go on, George. Anyway, Jeff has gone 2-0 to Newcastle. 5-0 to Newcastle, says Shane. Whoa. Anthony says, Chris, I won my bet on tonight's football, £225. Well, it's a good job you didn't put the bet on your predictions last week, wasn't it? You'd have lost more than you won. Bournemouth 0, Newcastle 3, says James. Cherries to lose 3-1, says Mike. 3-0, says Anthony. God, he's agreed with me again. Oh.
Yeah. Well, it was nice being level on points, weren't it, Chris?
It was. Newcastle 2-0, says Doug. Luke's gone the same, and Told You has gone 2-1. Oh dear. I'm not even going to read that one out. I am not.
No, just
that one out.
Doug.
No.
Right, do us all a favour. Put yourself on a timeout. Put your phone down and go and sit on a naughty step and think about what you've just done. These joke standards are they're just getting to a limit now, Doug. Right? This just come on.
But I do actually know a very interesting cherry fact. Because of course we're talking Bournemouth, of course, so it is quite apt. Is that is why elephants paint their toenails red, so that they can hide in cherry trees. You didn't know that, did you? I mean, Steve, have you ever seen an elephant in a cherry tree? No, you haven't, have you? No.
Not around this neck of the woods. I've seen quite a few different things but...
Shows how well it works, though, doesn't it?
I want to know how the cherry got in the lift.
It was pipped to the post for the stairs.
Oh, for God's sake. I knew that was coming as well, and I still...
Moving on.
I don't need to go to the doctors to figure out why I get migraines, do I?
Of course, the other elephants that don't paint the toenails red paint their toenails yellow, basically so they can hide upside down in custard. And again, if you've never seen an elephant upside down in custard, it proves it works. Moving on. Second time they're going to be played within the week. Leeds, Manchester United. Don't need to have a long chat about this because we did in the first game. How do you see it?
Well, depending on how Leeds got in the first game, shall I go for it and do what? Yeah, I'm going to go for it. 1-0 Leeds.
Oof. Okay.
I've got to get the points from somewhere. So
why do you keep going for Leeds to beat Man U? You can't get the points somewhere. You got to go for the Man U, surely.
No, because you're going to go on Man U, and then I'm not going to get any points clawed back. So, you know.
I see. Yeah, we'll see.
It's the 2:00 kickoff on TV on the Sunday. Steve will be there crying into his Yorkshire tea. Which way do you see it going, Brad?
Well, I still don't think Leeds will have a manager by this point. And if they do drastically make an appointment of Bielsa again, I think they're going to lose either way. But if they've got Bielsa back, then they're going to lose even worse because we know what happens when they play Man United. Commentators seem to get absolutely overwhelmed with exciting Leeds football when they get smashed 6-1 by Man United each time it happens. I don't understand that. It must be something wrong in their heads a little bit when they decide that Leeds play good football and lose 6-1. It don't make sense. If Bielsa's there, that will be the score. I'm saying that right now. If Bielsa's there, they'll lose 5 or 6-0. But I'm going to be kind to Leeds whilst they actually figure it out and actually sort their lives out and actually get a different manager that isn't Bielsa. And I'm going to say they're only going to lose 3-0.
3-0. Oof.
I know it's at Allen Road. I just can't see any different. Until they've got a proper manager that's had a chance to do something with them, they're not going to win a game against someone like Man U in form.
No. But apparently, breaking news, they have actually just crossed a salmon with an elephant. Apparently, they're going to get swimming trunks.
Oh, for God's sake. You know we can mute ourselves, Steve. We need to find a way to hack into StreamYard so we can mute Chris when he starts saying a joke.
You have a go at me saying that Leeds are going to win.
Somebody started the elephant jokes off. Look, I've got to say, I went for a 3-1 Man United win in the first game, and I'm going to match it in this game. I think it's going to be 3-1 again. I can't see Leeds doing anything. Whoever's the man, I mean, they won't have a manager obviously in place for tomorrow night. I don't think they will. Or if they do, what the hell can he do? Will they have one in place for the weekend? Who knows? But I do think it is. Bye-bye.
Even if they do though, Chris, what's he going to do? He's going to sit in the stands. He's sitting in the stands, isn't he? He's going to be announced on a Saturday if they do announce someone that quickly. He's not. There's no effect to be had by it, I don't think, over the next couple of days for him.
I'm just going to leave that joke there of Doug's, just so you can all enjoy it. So let us move on I was just doing something. He just passed a second. Leeds 1 match. Oh, Doug agrees with me. Shane has gone 3-0 Man United. Leeds, Jeff has gone 1-1. I said 1-1 to Leeds. That's a very Jesse Marsh thing to say, isn't it? James has gone 2-0 Man United. Mike has agreed with me again 3-1. Luke has gone for the draw. And then there's another cherry joke coming into Doug. Doug, I know you're married and you probably have anyway, but I wish you'd lose your cherry tonight. Leeds, Leeds
Steve looks like he's losing the will to live.
It's going on a lot longer than I'd planned.
Steve was 24 when we started the stream, folks, just so you know.
Yeah, he had hair.
I'm going to go and buy me a cherry tree tomorrow.
You're going to look for elephants, Steve, just before you buy it.
But of course we could, we need Doug's mum to come and tell him off, like the mother elephant telling the baby elephant off, going tusk tusk. Right.
Stop the show, please. I want to get off the show. Just
stop the show. I want to get off. Man City are hosting Villa, Steve. We all know Villa lost to us. Man City lost to Tottenham. What is going on at Man City?
I think he's lost the dressing room. I really do, or unless he's lost the plot. I can't understand why he left De Bruyne off the, sub. I don't know what's going on there, mate. I really don't. Perhaps he knows more than we know about what's coming, and it's going to be a nice excuse for him to, like Brad said, just walk out a bit gracefully. So I don't think they're a force to be scared of anymore. I think Villa are going to go there and make it hard for them. It's not going to be a smashing. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
Ooh, right. Brad.
This is going to sound ultimately strange, and I'm ready for you to click a button in shock and horror here. But forget financial fair play problems. On the pitch, Man City have an Erling Haaland problem. And that is that if he don't turn up or he doesn't fire on all cylinders, Man City don't win. It's not the toxicity of a Ronaldo situation, but it has the same implications of that. They are so heightened and focused on Erling Haaland and so desperate to turn him into that world star, which he clearly has the capabilities to do because he hasn't got this many goals by not proving that he can do it. But you have seen it week in, week out. And again, maybe what Steve said is true. If they know they can't win the league or it's going to get taken away from them, why bother? I mean, a bit strange what Pep said when he said he weren't interested in winning the Premiership. But that'll do we'll talk about that more on Friday, Chris.
Yes.
But I agree with Steve. And actually, this is scary. It's like I've just used the words I agree and with Steve in the same sentence. But I think it's been a while since I predicted one of these, and I'm actually going to say that this is a Desmond. This has got 2-2 written all over it, because I think Villa will want to fight back after getting embarrassed by Leicester, and Man City will try and put things right, and they'll oversell it, they'll overdo it, and Villa will get a way back in, and they'll sneak a result out of it, and then Arsenal can start prematurely taking the bus around London to the title.
Do you remember that song by Simon and Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence? Because I've not played anything, because I actually agree with you.
Bloody heck, I was not expecting that.
So I can't play anything and then agree with you. Yeah, I've gone 2-2. I think they've now got a manager in Unai Emery who knows what he's doing. He will look at that game against Leicester. He will work out what's gone wrong, and he will fix it. It's at Manchester, so it's at the Etihad. So obviously there'll be no fans there, so it won't be much of an atmosphere to get behind Manchester City. But I think Emery will get hold of his team after losing to us, and yet I don't think they'll necessarily beat Man City, but it's just, and they've got so. I mean, they've got again. People are going to be thinking at that club with everything that's going off, on off the field. It's going to possibly affect them as well. So I agree with you, Brad, and to a point, Steve. Although I do add that on as a little caveat at the end because I've gone 2-2. So
is that the first result we've all gone the same way for it, or has there been others?
Oh no! We all said Leicester to beat Spurs, but this is only the second one. This is only the second one where we've agreed.
What the heck?
Let's be honest with you. When do you ever expect us to agree with Steve's predictions?
This is very true. But if Anthony's gone for 2-2, can we all just change our results?
Yes, I will allow us to do that.
Yeah. We'll have a VAR moment because Anthony's predicted the same.
Yeah. Of course, we all know about the cherry that went to the Halloween party.
Oh, for God's sake.
When it turned midnight, he turned into a bootberry.
It's bad when you have to laugh at your own joke like that, right?
Can I say, I did that once when you started talking and I started to smile because I was thinking about it to myself. And I thought, I can't, I'll let you finish. That's the best. That's the joke to finish the cherries on. Sound like a 60s pop group, don't they? And here they are, top 5. It's the cherries. Man City to win 2-0, says Jeff. Ooh. Anthony says I didn't mention his joke, but I'm sure I mentioned Arsenal. Man City to beat Villa 2-1. Cancelo leave, yeah, it definitely is. Maybe he foresaw something that the rest of us are only just finding out, Doug.
Maybe he's the snitch. he's the one that glassed them up.
Yes. Villa 2, Man City 1, says Shane. The other way round, says Mike. Told you has gone 2-0 to the Citizens. 2-1 to Villa, says Luke. 2-0 Man City, says Doug. He has. Anthony's gone for a Desmond. Now, I never normally allow this, but does anybody want to change the prediction? You can do it as a one-off. Well, like you have like gun amnesties and knife amnesties. I'm going to let you have a score amnesty here. That if you want to change it, I'll even let you change it, Steve, because it's a draw. Does anybody want to change the prediction?
No, I'm fine with that.
Brad?
I'm tempted. I'm really tempted because he's not just gone for a draw. He's gone for the exact same score. But you know what? If we're going to take him down, we'll all take him down together. So if it's not a draw, at least we're all losing this one together. Yeah. So I'll stick with the 2-2. Fine, Anthony, you can have it. If you want to be part of the cool gang, you can go to Wall and join us, mate. Don't worry. We'll let him off this week.
He says, well done. Brad agrees with me and Chris. Oh
dear. I tell you what, if he gets no points this weekend, right, I'm banning him. He's not allowed to predict anything.
Madison Avenue, Leon, actually had a hit single with Heartache Avenue. Not, obviously, where Delia Smith lives, because she lives on Let's Be Avenue. Thank you.
I mean, it's an improvement, so I can't really. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of a smile or a laugh, but it's better than fairy jokes.
Like people are just playing into my hands here. Steve's going, let this be over soon, please. It's only 2 games to go, Steve.
You're laughing at my predictions. That's what gets me.
I know. None of these jokes are as good as your predictions.
I was just about to say, at least your predictions give me a chuckle, Steve. It says a lot about his joke telling, doesn't it? Him and Doug with the bloody dad jokes.
No. Steve, it's the big one on Monday night. Considering doing a watch along for this. Thank you. You see, told you, I've got fans out there, not many, I agree. But he did like that one.
You can't like that one.
Merseyside derby. Everton on a high after beating Arsenal. Big Sean's in the house. Liverpool can't just get it right, anything right at the moment. Could this be will it be a shock if Everton were to beat Liverpool?
To be honest, I think this is a week where Klopp needs to catch COVID and stay at home for a few days, and or just step back a bit and prove a point to itself. Is it me or is it the players? I think it's got to a point there where everything's wrong. His demeanour's wrong. His team selections are wrong. But I think he's looking too deep and trying to, change things around and do it. So I think he needs to take a step back for a game and just see how things go and let the players play how they want to play, because he's confusing them. He's confusing everybody, and I think it's the right time for Everton to play Liverpool. I think Everton will be more up for it than Liverpool. So it's the score though. I can't see Everton scoring many goals. I'm going to go for a 0-0
Liverpool at the moment.
No, I can't. I'm going to go for a 0-0.
Oh, 0-0. Well, I was at the zoo the other week and I saw two elephants talking to each other. They were on the elephone.
I refuse to be on camera with this awful joke telling.
If anybody's watching and they're liking this, and somebody might be liking it, and you're new, please subscribe.
Yeah, or send help. Either way.
Yeah. The more subscribers, the less jokes we'll do. How about that? There's the deal.
I thought it would have been a trunk.
I'm telling jokes. Right. I've forgotten your name there. I was looking at you thinking Nelly because of the elephants.
Oh, for God's sake.
Brad. Come on.
You got there again.
Brad, which way you I mean, this has got the hallmarks of being a classic derby.
It hasn't. It's very weird because I obviously predicted Wolves to beat Liverpool. It was very blasé the way I predicted it, because it just didn't seem like that much of a shock. Liverpool, Klopp, it's funny. Steve said, I know he said tongue in cheek that Klopp probably needs COVID for it to intervene and sort him out. But do you remember that season that we beat them 3-1 in the COVID season, and they were falling apart? They're all over the place. And everybody was saying he's getting his tactics wrong, he's changing too much. He hits the panic button. He doesn't just hit it, he smashes it, he obliterates it and takes a sledgehammer and flamethrower to it once he loses Virgil van Dijk or anybody of half-decent quality. That midfield's need improvement over the last 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. Doug might say, if he's still in there. And they've just keep buying forwards. Why? Can you not see where the blatant, obvious, glaring problem is in your team? It's your midfield that's weak. But, I mean, whilst the crisis is still going on, yes, it was a shock that Everton beat Arsenal, but it won't be a shock when they beat Liverpool this weekend, because they're going to do it. And Everton are going to beat them, and this really could get Liverpool fans turning on Klopp, because I'm going for Everton to win this game by 3-1.
Oh, right.
Because normally Liverpool, you can rely on Anfield, can't you? You normally think, it's all right, we'll hit a form because we'll go to Anfield, we'll get behind the lads, and we'll win. Didn't work against Brighton, didn't work against Fulham, didn't work against, and it's just not working this season. And whilst he's crying into a corner, smashing the panic button, they're going to keep losing, dropping points.
Yeah, I agree. This is a really probably the hardest one to predict, because Everton do struggle against Liverpool in the derbies. Liverpool always do seem to get a result. And it's at Anfield. If it was at Goodison, it might be different. It's at Anfield. I'm going to complete the hat trick and go different to both of you two. That's just the sort of guy I am. I live on the edge, I'm going to go. I'm going to go 2-1 to Liverpool because I think it's the derby and it's at Liverpool. And I think what we saw last week was a one-off, and I don't think. I think Everton will stay up under Dyche because I think there's worse teams with worse managers, but I can't see them getting anything here. So I'm actually going to go 2-1 to Liverpool. Doug, you can pay me later. Let me just come up. Anthony has. Oh God. Oh, that's all right. Sorry, I panicked then. But he's actually gone 2-1 to Everton. Oof,
I'm glad I went 3-1 Everton. Otherwise, I was going to demand that. Has changed mine.
Jeff's gone Liverpool to win 1-0 with a long distance goal by Face.
I love that. I do like that. I have to admit that. See, now that is the best joke that's been told all night. I do like that.
You are going to get the best joke award, and if I can just find it here, I'm going to give you one of these. You deserve it, mate. That is the best joke of the night, even by my standards. Anthony said, I'd rather have constipation than these jokes. I thought that came. You got that just being an Arsenal fan, to be honest with you, because they play enough shit normally, don't they? Oh, can't say that this season to get away with it, can I? Really? Jeff, my niece would like your joke. She's 5. Not nice, just not nice. Doug, what game should you never play with an elephant?
He just top trumps. Oh, I thought he was going to say something.
Hang on, I've lost it. James has gone. I hope you're right, Brad. Told you has gone Liverpool 1, Everton 0. Nunes goal.
That was so believable until he said it was the. And I'm going to get it right just for Doug in this one. Until he said that the goal was going to come from the Uruguayan, not Ukrainian, like I accidentally called it in Doug's drink one. The Uruguayan Andy Carroll. There you go, Doug. Just for you, I made amends for calling him Ukrainian.
Doug says 3-1. Who's scoring Everton's 3 goals, Brad?
Probably Joe Matip. Oh, sorry. That was an own goal specialist, isn't it? Joe Matip. Dwight McNeil. And you know what? Just for the laugh. Just when you think you're done with Brighton, their ex is going to haunt you, and Neil Maupay's going to score off the bench. There you go. There's your 3, Doug.
James says can't see many goals in this game. Anthony, I'm sorry, I have to take your first answer. I can't change it to 3-1 Everton. Sorry. Thank me later, Brad.
Thank you, Chris. I'll thank you now.
Do you know why elephants can't use computers, though? Because they're scared of noise.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Oh, if it gets very hot in Africa for the elephants, of course, they could always use air conditioning. Right, last game, you'll be pleased to hear, Steve. If anyone wants to stay on afterwards, we can have a joke. We can have a joke hour. This is the big one. Arsenal are going to be playing Manchester City. Steve, surely you can going to go Manchester City on this one. Oh, Doug, sorry, Doug has gone 1-0 against his team. He's predicting a loss.
I think this game is going to suit Man City. I think it's going to be a tactical possession game. Yeah, I think Man City are going to nullify Arsenal, but I can't see it be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go for one each again on this one.
Tell you what, mate, I hope you got a long fence.
Do you know what, mate? I've cracked it this week. I've cracked it.
You cracked something.
I've
He's
got
gone 1-1.
now all the elephants have just gone straight to it.
Boom, 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 boom. It does make me remember. Do you know what you get if you cross an elephant with a man?
Oh,
Bloody big holes in your skirting board. That's what you get. This is what the fans want. This is.
I don't know what fans you're talking to.
Brad,
Elephant.
before I do another elephant joke.
Oh, God. You're throwing me off with your awful, awful elephant jokes.
If
But
you want to phone a friend at this stage, Brad, you can always make a trunk call.
Oh,
I think I finished Steve off this week.
I think I'm sitting on a peanut or something, I think.
God's sake. Oh, this show's killed me inside. I'm just emotionally drained from all these awful jokes that are being told.
Awful.
0-0. I just don't know how this one's going to go. Man City don't seem to care. They obviously fear big punishment, and it's Arsenal. They find a way to somehow scrape it. 0-0. I'm going to go for a 0-0.
Well, I am going to go for a Desmond because I think it'll be a draw. So we've agreed. Again, we've all gone for a draw. But I think there will be goals in this. But I think it will be 2-2. Man City will have a point to prove. But I think Arsenal will just hold on, knowing that obviously this could be the title decider. I know it's early in the season, but I think it could be. Let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. Arsenal 3, Man City 1, says Shane. Oh, sorry, James has just come in. Well, he came in earlier. He's going for a 1-1 draw as an Everton fan. So Shane is going for 3-1 to Arsenal. Dan is back from outer space. Man City of the Northern Premier. We love it, don't we? We love it. Man City 3-2, says Mike. 2-1 to Arsenal, says James. Anthony was never going to agree with either of us. He's gone for a 2-1 to Arsenal win. True Red says, Chris, you should have your own show. And I'll tell you what, when I do take over that breakfast show on the radio, everybody will be staying in bed for an extra hour, won't they? Jeff's gone. He's always agreed with me, Jeff. He's gone for a Desmond. Toljet has gone for 2-1 Arsenal, as indeed has Luke.
Just because they're playing red, Luke, doesn't mean you have to go for them to win.
No. How do you get 5 elephants in a mini?
Oh, I thought we'd stop encouraging him.
You don't. And Doug has gone with Arsenal 2, Manchester City 1. Much to Steve's relief, and not probably a little bit of Brad's as well. That was the last game. I didn't expect it to take this long. Jokes have have come in a little bit there. You are feeling confident, Steve?
I've smashed it, mate. I've smashed it. I've just been looking at everybody's predictions. You're all wrong. And I've got a great week this week.
And then he woke up.
And I think that's the best joke of the night.
He's on there, yeah. Well done, Steve.
I'll have a pint of whatever you're on, Steve. Brad, I'm going to say to you, of course, what is an elephant's favourite font? Elephant. Feeling confident, Brad? You've got it back. We're back drawing. I was ahead for 1 week.
Yeah, I'm always confident, mate. One way or another, I'll always end up winning this. So I'm glad to be joint top. We'll let Steve have it. He can be second this week because if it means Anthony's third, then it's better than what he has been doing.
And
So
fourth, don't we?
Well, yeah, he could, because he's a Spurs fan, so obviously he knows what it's like to finish third in a two-horse race.
Yes, he does. He does. Doug says we need to have that joke off. We certainly do. We'll get it arranged. Message me, or do you want to come on afterwards? We'll have a chat and get something agreed because we've been saying this forever and a day. We're going to have the old Alan Shearer. Who's the other guy?
Ian Wright,
and do a joke off. Anthony, we're going to be talking all about Manchester City on Question Time on Friday at 9:00. So join us then. Steve, thank you so much, not only for coming on, but for putting up with the jokes.
No, I'm sound. I've just made my mind up now. I think I'm going to go to the zoo tomorrow. So,
look, if you want to see Brad, go to Manchester. I went to the zoo the other week and I saw a monkey jerking off. I then went to have a look at the giraffes and I was still jerking off. Any news?
You know that warning that we all got when you said, "Can we all keep it clean, please?" Because of the warnings I get. I think we know the real true culprit.
You don't know what words I was going to use on that.
Yeah, all right.
And in fairness, this one's not going out on Facebook because I'm banned at the moment.
Well, yeah, there is that. Facebook abandoned. That's why he's going on about it.
All I can say, Chris, is I saw that coming.
No, that must have been an ugly sight.
Oh, God. Tell us, Foxy 7, Steve, how's it going?
Yes, we're going to be up and running next week. So hopefully everything's going to go fine. So please have a look and see if we can interest you in anything.
I'm sure you will. And Doug, again, as always, the other week he did offer he will promote his stuff on his channel as well. But if you think you're going to get a better class of viewer, no, just remember the jokes that he was saying. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're giving you sponsorship of this show, and it's next Friday at 9:00. We're becoming a Friday night show. We might have to start it at 11 so that it's definitely after the watershed. Mate, all the best. Thanks so much for coming on.
Enjoy.
I'd say good luck with those predictions, but I think you need a miracle.
Listen, it's my week this week. You watch. You'll be thanking me on the next show, saying I was right.
We'll clip that.
Yeah. Going to start sounding like a Liverpool fan, Steve. You keep saying it's your week. You're like them. It's their year.
I might go for the Leeds job, and that you never know.
Oh, well, I tell you what, if you take the Forest job, I'm definitely predicting them to lose every week. Oh, dear.
Oh, God. We love each other, don't we? We do.
Yeah. Love's a strong word.
Yeah, it is. And I have a love-hate relationship with Brad. We love each other. We love ourselves and hate each other. That would have been better if I got it right. Steve, all the best, mate. I'll let you go.
Just give that to Anthony for me, will it? What is it? It's coming. There it is. Like, give that to Anthony.
There's Anthony. Anthony, I knew you'd come on before the end of the show. I think that was more impressive than Anthony's. This is why I'm not allowed on Facebook, because of that sort of thing.
That was my little thing. Yeah, take care, guys.
I'll see you next Friday at 9:00. All the best.
Well,
take care.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Oh, you'll be glad it's the end of the show. Where can anybody find your show, which is not quite as bad as this one?
Well, there is that. You can find me on YouTube at Top 10 Battles. Link is always in Chris' description because he's an absolute legend like that. So do go and check that one out. I've got a quiz booked in for tomorrow with Reese. If you know this channel well enough, probably seen Reese on here a few times. So be looking out for that tomorrow. And obviously, unfortunately, I'll have Anthony.
What time does that start?
That's 8 o'clock tomorrow. I've booked recently. It's like a deadline day deal. He got back to me and let me know his availability, so I've squeezed him in when I can tomorrow.
And it's starting at 8, so because it's Reese, you'll be finishing about 1 in the morning.
Yeah, so if you want me to break it up into highlight packages, don't worry. I'll edit it and do that for you. So keeping you all here for 4 hours, and then I'm back with Anthony the day after on a Thursday at 7:30, doing our best 11 for, funny enough, Liverpool Everton. So if you like Liverpool Everton, do check us out on Thursday at 7:30. And if you don't know where to follow us on YouTube, follow me personally on Facebook if you really want to. I wouldn't wish that on anybody though. Or follow me on Twitter at Full Time Focus. That's the best ways you'll find me to know when I'm doing these live.
No, you're more welcome. Get over there and give Brad your support.
Cheers,
you will
brother.
always wear it. And just one last one to leave you with. Why are elephants so wrinkly? Have you ever tried to iron one? Brad, I will see you on Friday when we'll be talking FFP. All the best, mate. Take care. And honestly,
cheers,
I will not bring any elephant jokes. I'll find another animal.
Oh, for God's sake, that doesn't make it any better.
Take care, buddy. Yeah, but the thing
Take
is,
care, mate.
You won't remember them like you'll remember the elephant jokes.
Oh, God. Sad but true. Sad but true.
All the best, mate. Take care.
Take care, buddy.
Cheers. Doug, I've sent you the link if you want to jump on when we finished and we can sort out that show. I'm sure if I ask to get Brad nice enough, he'll come on and referee. God help, mind you, he might not want to. Mine's bigger, Steve. Oh, come on, you guys, stop. It's all about size, isn't it? And he says, good luck to Brad for the other day. Not sure, mate. We'll find out for next week. Once it's up and running, this show will be sponsored by Foxy 7. Of course, giving Steve our support for giving up his time every week. I know he enjoys it, but giving up his time and coming on as an ex-player, we really do appreciate it. As they say. So, what is going to be coming up for the rest of the week? Let me tell you.
Coming up next on Leicester Till I Die TV.
We've got tomorrow, 9 o'clock, we're talking to Russell Osman with the latest episode of The Conversation, talking to him about his Leicester City career and his career in football generally. Then on Friday, we've got the Spurs preview. We're getting Harry on there, big Spurs fan, not Mr. Kane. We've got Harry coming on to talk to us at 9 o'clock. And then I'm going to go on his on Friday. And then at 9 o'clock, we have got question time when we will be discussing FFP because Leicester look at this. I mean, we cocked our summer spending up because we were trying to abide by the rules, and then Manchester City flagrantly smash the rules and do what the hell they want to. So it's a bit annoying. We will be talking about that on Friday. So do join us and let us know what you think your thoughts are on FFP. And then, of course, on Saturday from 2:30, it is the watch along for Spurs and the post-match reaction. And just to say, next week, it's all going to be changing because of the new spring schedule, if you like, as ITV would say, is kicking in. Shows are moving around a bit and shows will be less. We're merging some shows together. So like the stats show and the preview show is going to be merged together. Prediction shows moving to Friday, like I say. And the question time is moving to Monday. So there's more sort of things to talk about for the weekend games. Predictions on Thursday. Next week, Wednesday, it's Ian Hume in the conversation, and of course, Man United preview on the 16th on that one. It has been a pleasure. It has been a pleasure. It has been a laugh. Allegedly, I don't know. You could probably have me at for misrepresentation there. But thanks very much to Steve. Thanks very much to Brad. Thanks very much to Ant for getting all his scores wrong again. Do take care. I will see you all tomorrow night at 9 o'clock when we talk to Russell Osman. I love doing those shows. I can't believe that I taught Pontus, come on, one of my heroes, talking to him, laughing and unbelievable, Jeff. Unbelievable. It's an honour. It is an honour to do that. Don't do anything you wouldn't enjoy. If you have been watching this on YouTube, thank you so very, very much. And if you've been listening on your favourite podcast platform, really, really do appreciate lending me your ears for the last couple of hours. You can have them back now. Here's Arnie.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That's all, folks.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
Leicester Till I Die